lot of my Oregon Ducks gear is starting to dwindle down hardcore. I think I maybe have here and there items left. I sold quite a bit of stuff the last week or so as college football season has started. And so now I got a ton of Tennessee Titans gear in inventory. This is a Eddie George youth jersey. I believe it's a boys 10-12. I think I may even have one of these for men as well. I find this stuff, Chris Johnson, Lindell White, Vince Young, some of those old Titans from back in the day. This one cost probably 50 cents from the bins. It sold pretty quick for 20 plus shipping. These are a pair of Van. I've never sold this model before. I believe they're called the Trek slip-on shoes. You could even hike in them as well. They got really good traction on the bottom. But anyway, found these at the bins in Nashville. I believe last week. They sold right away for 20 plus shipping, and they're headed back home to the West Coast in good old Portland, Oregon. These are a pair of FootJoy Hyperflex golf spikes. And at our bins in Nashville, basically, in Oregon they didn't do this, but here in Nashville there's 4 tables, and so they put sheets on the top of them, and you basically can't even see anything until they snatch the sheets off, so it's pretty wild. But anyway, the competition for like sneakers is like insane, but what I've noticed is there's not as much competition for cleats and golf spikes, and I know that game pretty good, and so that's what I've been trying to pick up more of, as people really don't tend to care about grabbing those. So anyway, found these in Nashville. They probably cost $2 to $3, and I believe they sold for 30 plus shipping. Alright, so these are just your basic Under Armour football pants. I believe this is the, 1, 2, 3. Well, no, it's probably more than that. I thought it was maybe the 5-pack, but it has more pads. But anyway, football season is here, and these are a youth size, a youth medium. Youth medium. And pick these up at the bins in Nashville. They probably cost no more than $1.50, and they sold for 16 plus shipping. So when I'm outsourcing, I'm not necessarily looking for a home run on every single thing that I find. So I do pick up stuff that's, that I can maybe sell it for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bucks on. And so this is a prime example. This is just a Life is Good t-shirt. It's a women's small, so not even a big size. Found this at the bins in Nashville. It's light, probably 50 cents. It sold for $8 plus shipping. This is a pair of Nike Air Max 97 in the Olympic USA colorway, and found these at the bins probably about a month ago, and you could tell that it was the same guy that donated these, because there was another pair in a different colorway that another guy picked up, and they were the same size, because we kind of talked about the fines once that shoe rotation was over. But anyway, they sold pretty quick, like I said, right around a month for 50 plus shipping. Alright, y'all, so I made my prototypical 2-day venture to Nashville down from 3 as recent as a couple of weeks ago, and I think I found 180 items in just the 2 days. And it's kind of crazy, because before I went to this new system a couple of weeks ago, sometimes I wouldn't even find that on 3 days. So there's a law out there called Parkinson's Law, and basically what it says is that work expands to fill the available time. So what that basically means is, if you got 3 days to accomplish something, it's probably going to take you the full 3 days. And if you cut that down to 1 day or 2 day, trust me, you're going to find a way to get that goal accomplished. And that's what I'm basically seeing right here in my business as far as on the sourcing front. Cut down to 2 days and poof, still able to hit the goal. And that's because your brain starts working a little bit better. You start finding ways to be efficient, and it just tends to work out. And it's created a really good work-life balance. I can source 2 really heavy days and then be home 5 days to be able to get the processing done, maybe do like some online arbitrage, just find other ways to try to grow the business. And again, we like it. We're going to, I think a couple weeks ago, I went to a football game with a brother from church. We're going back out to meet him again, but this time I'm taking my 9-year-old and 11-year-old just to kind of get a boys trip out. And so that's kind of how the sourcing went this week. So this is a pretty cool t-shirt I stumbled across at the bins on, not yesterday, but my very first day this week in Nashville. So if you've been watching, my main categories that I look to sell is first and foremost sneakers, and then I'm looking for like active or outdoor wear, and then jerseys. But since I've been in Nashville, I'm sort of kind of learning the vintage t-shirt game. And so I grew up in the 90s. I'm very familiar with Wait Until Exhale, Basically a Whitney Houston staple. And it's, I don't know if you can see, but it's single stitch down here at the bottom. Here's the tag. The comps on these were all over the place. People had these listed really high, but it looks like they're consistently, at least the ones I've seen, are selling between 100 and probably about 150. And this one right here sold, didn't take too long. It sold right away for 105 plus shipping. Maybe I could have held out and maybe got closer to like 150. But I mean, this cost $1. I'm still learning the game. So $100 bill on $1 investment, I took it. I talked about how I'm expanding basically my reach as far as items that I'm picking up. The vintage t-shirts is one that's actually a pretty promising one, and basically one that has the potential to be really profitable. But I'm also starting to add hats in. I've sold hats here and there over the years, and I think I mentioned in a video maybe a month or so back, I think I showed you guys that vintage hat that sold right away. But anyway, I'm starting to pick these up. You know, usually if it's not anything that's like vintage, it's usually going to be like a college football or maybe pro football. This one here is just a basic Tennessee Volunteers, and these usually don't sell for a ton of money, so they have to be in really good condition to allow me to even take the time to even pick them up. This one it's probably only 50 cents from the bins, and it sold for, I want to say $7 or $8 plus shipping to somebody right here in Tennessee. So at the end of the day yesterday, the rotations in the morning were really fast, but once lunchtime came and after that went, the rotations got really slow, and it was at the very end I told myself I was going to stay for one more rotation, and even it took them a while to even get that done. But anyway, I went over to this bin and I noticed there was a bunch of these slacks right here, and I know this brand right here in this model really well, and I was saying to myself, there's no way. And so if you look inside, there's no tag, and so it's easily to see if you don't have the knowledge how this is an easy miss. And so they could be written off as just basic generics dress slacks. I knew right away what they were. So if you look here by the backside pocket, here's the tag, and I know most of you kind of know what that tag is. So these are Lululemon ABC jogger pants, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So all 5 of these joggers, and it's literally from the same guy, they're all a size 38. They were just basically in the corner of one of the bins, and when I looked at it, it's easy to see why they were missed, because if you're just kind of moving at breakneck speed and you kind of just, you're flipping through this, you look, there's nothing in here, you might write these off as maybe some Gap slacks or something. But with the knowledge, you can kind of skim around and kind of look and see that it's so much more than that. And these typically sell for somewhere between 30 to 40 bucks a piece. And this happened towards the end of the day, and I had basically written the day off as finishing. So this is a Callaway button-up polo right here, and it has an embroidery. I'm not even familiar with what this even is, but like I told you guys a while back, as I'm kind of hanging out at the bins, I'm constantly picking up stuff with embroideries and just kind of looking those up and seeing if there's any movement on those. And I can almost guarantee you're probably going to be the only person at your bins that's doing that. It's people kind of standing around talking, and this is another way that you could be making money for stuff that people don't find value in. And this one probably cost 75 cents. Picked it up not even that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I believe it sold for 13 or 14 plus shipping. So these are a pair of cool KUHL, a brand that I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably familiar with. And this is a youth size. I know some people don't pick up youth sizes, but these still even do well for youth. Picked them up at the bins for probably right around $1, $1.50 max. They sold, I think I picked these up last week, so pretty quick. They sold for 20 plus shipping. Alrighty, also got more youth pants to show you. These aren't cool. These are the infamous Patagonia, and these are really old. I picked these up way back when in Oregon, so I don't know what the hang up was as far as what took them so long to sell. It probably took at least over a year. Boys large, probably cost, they're pretty light, probably 50 cents to $1 at the bins. They sold for 10 bucks plus shipping. Alrighty, y'all, so this is my first day back home after 2 long sourcing days. So there's a lot of stuff I got to get caught up on. Got to get photography done, got to get items from a few days ago put away, and then just got to get things just kind of rocking and rolling from just all of the stuff that kind of got put off when I was going to Nashville the last couple of days. So this is where I'm gonna cut the video off at. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you did, like it, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you guys right back here on the next video. Succeed.